It's officially wedding season, which for me means one thing. I'm already on my third wedding of the summer. My bank account is actually weeping. And this one is a Nepalese one, and here's the problem. I have nothing to wear. So I panic bought a sari in South Hall. It's this beautiful, sparkly purple sari that I bought for £39. But here's where it gets stressful. I still needed a blouse for it. I'm not going to pretend that I've got the skills yet to make one, so I went on a tailor hunt. So Southall is actually a bit far for me, so I went to Tooting. I basically walked into every single shop that looked like it might know a tailor and asked around until someone pointed me towards this tiny place tucked behind a hair salon. You'd never find it if you weren't looking for it. So we did the measurement, but there was a bit of a language barrier. So if I'm honest, I left that shop on hope and prayer that she understood what I actually wanted. I just had to trust the process and hope for the best. While all that was sorting itself out, I realized that I actually needed a bag to go with the sari. So I went through my bag collection and I realized there was nothing that would actually work with it. So obviously I decided to make one. My first thought was to make a pothi bag, but then I actually thought about what I would need to carry, which is my phone, a fan, sunglasses, camera, touch of makeup, and I needed something that was going to have a bit more room. So instead, I decided to make a clutch shaped like a letter. I thought it would be cute, but also practical enough to fit my life in it. For fabric, I went with golds, partly because it would sort of bring out the gold sparkles in the sari, but also because gold in general will go with a lot more things long term. I also had some trims and like these tassels, and I thought I wanted to incorporate them one way or another. If you want to make one yourself, you need to cut the shape you can see on the screen. Cut it out of your main fabric, your lining fabric, and then a thick interfacing to help the bag hold its shape. Quick tip though, cut the interfacing about 2 centimeters smaller all around. It makes sewing the edges so much easier later on. I ironed the interfacing onto the main fabric first, then sewed the main and the lining fabric together with the outsides facing each other, leaving a small gap so I can pull the whole thing right side out afterwards. I added a magnetic clasp so it actually stays shut. Then came the fun bit, figuring out where the trims and tassels actually looked good. I landed on the trims down the side with the tassel thread sitting along the triangle part of the letter shape and the tassel itself attached at the tip. I used the sewing machine for the trims and to close up the sides. Fair warning though, it does get thick, so use a proper needle. I went with a needle used to sew jeans and it handled it quite fine. The tassel and thread though, I hand sewed it. And I'll be honest with you, the thread itself looks fine, but it would have been so much neater if I attached the tassel before closing up the lining and main fabric. But I was racing with the clock, so it's a bit messy on the inside. You generally can't tell from the outside. Just have to be a little bit careful when you open the bag. 3 days before the wedding, I messaged the tailor asking her when I could collect the blouse. She then replies telling me that there was a power cut in the shop and she hasn't been able to sew a single stitch. I properly panicked at this point because I have no backup. I was just literally searching online through midnight trying to find something and I just couldn't find anything. At this point, I was even thinking of asking for the fabric back and just making something myself and just winging it. But then thankfully the next day she messaged me back saying that she might be able to pull it off. So I took the risk and bought nothing. And the evening before the wedding, I went to try it on. This poor woman, I went to the shop, she was literally running the sewing machine through a generator to get this done. Now when I tried it on, the waist was a little bit bigger, which she was able to fix really quickly, and around the armpits it's a bit tighter than I would like. I feel like blouses are usually like this. Like, I don't know why they make it so tight around the armpit. But she said it looks fine, and if I wanted to change it, it would take a lot longer, and I just didn't have time. All in all, it cost me £40, which is a bit more than I expected. I spoke with a few people and they've done it for a lot cheaper. But obviously everything's gone up in price, and she did pull it off even though it was a bit stressful. So this is the bag. I think it's really cute, and honestly the best part is how much it can actually fit. I did think about adding small handle at one point, but decided against it in the end. You could easily size this up as well, and use it as a laptop case. And this is the final look, all put together for the wedding. I'm so glad it all worked out in the end, but I have absolutely learned my lesson about leaving an outfit less than 2 weeks before an event. I'll see you next time. Bye.